From that first cup of coffee in the morning to maybe a glass of wine at night, psychoactive substances are just everywhere. They're totally woven into the fabric of our lives. They wake us up, they calm us down, they help us connect. But if you ever stop to really think about what's going on inside your brain when you drink that coffee or have that glass of wine, well, today we're going on that exact chemical journey to find out. Okay, let's get into it.
It's kind of like a chemical dance we do every single day, right? The caffeine that gets you going, the pill that quiets your anxiety. These are all just partners we pick to sort of fine-tune our reality. But what's the real cost of this constant back and forth, this chemical negotiation with our own minds?
And that's the big question, isn't it? That's what we're here to answer. We are going to go deep inside the brain to really understand the science behind our moods, our highs, and, yeah, our lows. We're talking about the nuts and bolts behind both the magic and, sometimes, the misery.
All right, so let's start with the chemicals we all know, maybe even love. The ones that are so common, so wrapped up in our culture and daily routines, that we honestly forget they're powerful drugs in their own right.
Caffeine, of course, the world's most popular psychoactive drug. But here's its biggest secret. Caffeine doesn't actually give you energy. No way. It's more like a master of deception. It works by blocking the receptors for a chemical called adenosine, which is basically your brain's natural, hey, it's time to sleep signal. So it's not creating energy. It's just putting a blindfold on your exhaustion. But when that caffeine wears off, bam, all that exhaustion hits you like a ton of bricks. That feeling isn't really a craving for coffee, it's withdrawal.
And then there's alcohol. You know, the great social lubricant, that warm, fuzzy feeling of relaxation and confidence. That's your brain literally slowing down. But here's the trick. Alcohol makes you feel sharp, like you're in total control, even as it's actively chipping away at your judgment and your inhibitions. And that pounding headache the next morning, that's just the start. The long-term price is so much steeper. It dulls your senses, steals your vitality. It can leave behind a shadow of what makes you, you. So, we've gone from the gentle buzz of caffeine to the warm embrace of alcohol. We've seen how these everyday chemicals can change how we feel. But now we're stepping into a completely different league. We're talking about some seriously powerful stimulants that promise a rocket ride to the moon, but often that ride ends in a pretty devastating crash landing.
Cocaine is like a lightning strike to the brain. See, it works by jamming the re-entry ports for dopamine. That's your brain's main chemical for reward and pleasure. With the gates blocked, dopamine just floods your system, making you feel like a god, absolutely invincible, brilliant. But that high is as short-lived as a flash of lightning, and the crash that follows is a sudden thunderclap of anxiety, paranoia, and this bone-deep despair that leaves you craving just one more bolt from the blue.
So if cocaine is a lightning strike, then methamphetamine, well, that's a full-on nuclear explosion. It doesn't just block dopamine, it actually forces your neurons to unleash a tidal wave of it, way more than the brain is ever meant to handle. The result is a superhuman surge of obsessive energy that can go on for hours, sometimes even days. But make no mistake, it is a deal with the devil. You're not creating energy, you are burning through your future reserves. And that debt comes due with a soul-crushing crash that can last for weeks.
So let's put these two head-to-head for a second. Cocaine, which comes from a plant, gives you that quick, sharp, intense jolt. Meth, on the other hand, is totally synthetic, and it's like chugging a whole pot of coffee, a case of energy drinks, and then some. The real key difference is how they work. Think of it like this. Cocaine blocks the dopamine door. Meth kicks the door clean off its hinges and forces all the dopamine out at once. And look, while both are incredibly dangerous, it's meth's sheer power to permanently damage and rewire your brain that makes it a truly terrifying substance.
Okay, so we've looked at the chemicals that speed us up and the ones that slow us down. But what about the ones that do something else entirely? The ones that unlock the very doors of our perception? Well, get ready to take a trip down the rabbit hole, because now we're exploring the world of hallucinogens.
Right, cannabis. For a lot of people, this is the drug that makes music sound richer, food taste absolutely incredible, and time itself just kinda melt away. Its active ingredient, THC, actually mimics natural chemicals we already have in our brains, which is probably why its effects can feel so, well, organic. But don't let its friendly reputation fool you. While it might not have that brutal physical hook of some other drugs, its price can be the slow, quiet erosion of your motivation and your short-term memory that just creeps up on you.
LSD, it's not so much a drug as it is a portal to another dimension.
It basically hijacks your serotonin system, which manages everything from your mood to how you perceive reality, and it just shatters the filters you see the world through. It can feel like the universe is revealing all its raw, unfiltered glory right to you. But be warned, once you open that door, you can never ever be sure what you're going to find on the other side. It could be heaven, or it could be absolute hell.
This quote really just says it all. LSD might show you the secrets of the cosmos, but it can also leave you with some serious psychological scars that might never fully heal. It's a profound gamble with your own sanity, and there is just no way to know beforehand if you're going to win or lose that bet. For some people, the world is a place of constant, just unbearable pain, whether it's physical or emotional. And for them, there are chemicals that promise a way out, a total escape. But as we're about to see, the price of that escape can be a fate much, much worse than the pain itself.
Just imagine a drug that could completely erase all of your pain and wrap you in this warm, loving, euphoric hug. That is the seductive promise of opioids, but it is a cruel, cruel lie. Because when that drug wears off, the pain comes roaring back with a vengeance, and your body's most basic survival instincts have been completely hijacked. It creates a prison made of your own biology, where every single nerve in your body is screaming that the only escape from the agony is just one more dose.
For millions of people, anxiety is this constant, screaming companion. And for them, there's a pill that can make it all go quiet. Benzodiazepines are basically a mute button for your worries. They just turn down the volume on a chaotic world. But here's the catch. The more you press that button, the more your brain forgets how to be calm by itself. It literally stops producing its own sense of peace, and that creates a vicious cycle that can be incredibly hard to break.
And that's the real trap, isn't it? You start taking a pill to feel calm, and then before you even realize it, you find you can't feel calm without it. It becomes this psychological prison where you are both the inmate and the guard, totally convinced that this little chemical is the only thing keeping you sane.
So, after this whole journey, what have we learned? I think it's this. Every single one of these substances is a trade-off. You're trading future well-being, your energy, your stability, your happiness, for a feeling right here in the present moment. And while some of those trades might seem small, they all always come with a price.
You know, the line between a medicine and a poison is often just a matter of dose and context. So the final question really comes back to you. Where do you draw that line in your own life? At what point does a helpful habit become a harmful crutch? When does a comforting ritual become a dangerous trap? That's a question only you can answer.